Thanks, and it's great to be here. Can we just say, CCX, we esteem you. Thank you so much for the way you serve the church. You are such a gift to the church, and we're really, really grateful for all the sacrifices, for the vision, for everything you do. You're such a gift to us. But why is it? Why is it that this should be our priority? I'm compelled by this, and I'm compelled by this not because I think we're scared for our survival. It's not fear that drives this. We don't need to shore up our influence or to retain our place in the nation. We don't just want to look all contemporary, giving faith this much-needed makeover that we need, or we don't just want to get people to our events or to justify our existence. The reason I'm persuaded by being a younger church is simply this. Children and young people need what only Jesus Christ can bring to them. And if we could, and if the church could but comprehend how good the good news is for young people, we'd be out the door. Good news for all the 14 million under 18-year-olds in this country. Good news for all of them. Now, 14 million is a big number, but you will know the faces. You will know the names. They'll be your neighbors. They'll be in schools you serve in. They'll be in the communities that you live in. These are the young people we are talking about that Jesus is the best news for. I'm really not a great fan of "it's never been so hard" statements. But surely, growing up as a child and young person today, has it ever been so hard? Jesus told a story of a shepherd who had 100 sheep. Luke 15. One wanders off, and the shepherd loved that one sheep so much, he left 99 to find the one sheep. We are the church of the Good Shepherd. Yeah, we are the church of the Good Shepherd, yet sometimes, and forgive the caricature, but the figures almost bear it out. We have let 99 wander off, and we make our most consuming time on keeping the one. 99 have wandered off. They have fallen down ravines. They're in quicksand, they're in pits, and some have tragically fallen, and some have even jumped off cliffs. Think of how it is growing up today, navigating a landscape which feels hostile and dangerous. Put a foot wrong and you're permanently excluded. Online and offline, your life is dominated by judgment. Approval, disapproval, image and surface. Forgiveness is in really short supply. Trust is even lower. Childline reported a 71% rise in calls about loneliness in 2023. The Prince's Trust stats say that 31% of young people struggle to know how to make friends. No wonder the most popular show watched on repeat by my children on Netflix is Friends. Identity is everything, but who can bear the weight of this pick and mix kit that you're given, and this weight of be whoever you want to be? Whose life can bear the weight of making yourself up? What if what you present yourself to be is out of sync with who you really know you are? What if in trying to find yourself, you got lost? What if you're brave enough to admit that there is absolutely nothing real about your be real? And the impact on internal life, on mental health, on anxiety, on fear. Mental health being a pit that you fall into where you can't even get a foothold, or the gradient feels so steep you just don't know how you're ever going to get out of it. And then there's the terrain of injustice and abuse, of poverty and neglect, of uncertain futures, of little hope, looking into the future for so many, and how those who were trusted with you ran off. We're a generation that knows more about prodigal fathers than prodigal sons. And yet there's rumors on the wind of war and climate change, of slaughter in nations overseas, of abuses at home, of sexism and racism, of homophobia and abuses of power in the inherited traditions that previous generations have trusted, and the church. Choose to protect the one rather than go after the 99. But 99 are missing. Literally, 99% of young people are missing. And to call the gospel good news for young people is maybe the greatest understatement of the day. This is about identity, forgiveness, belonging, goodness, the future, the past, the present, who you are, how you best live, who to love, how to love, that you're seen, that you're known, that you're truly understood, that you've got a reason to live, a way to live, someone to bear the burdens of your day-to-day life, someone who knows your fears, someone who knows your secrets, the distance between what you present and who you actually are. Strength, joy, life, death. You are not on your own in this frightening world. I drove my 18-year-old daughter, Jessie, back to university after church about 4 months ago. And she said she lives in a house with 9 people. And she said, Dad, the thing is, everything that church is about, forgiveness, eternity, the soul, peace, understanding, goodness, all those things, all of my housemates are interested in, yet not one of them would consider for a moment looking in the church to try and find them. Why is this? Have we presented Christianity as some kind of niche activity like motorsports? Like, oh, if you're interested in this kind of fringe kind of thing. In 2013, Pope Francis, the day before the conclave began, so while he was George Bergoglio, said that Jesus was standing at the door of the church knocking and asking to be let out. But I believe he's out, because I believe the shepherd is already on his way to go and find his children. If we would take our vocation and agency seriously, we'll see the longings that are placed in these hearts, and we'll tune ourselves into them and draw alongside, because God is stirring and provoking what only he can bring. Few put it as starkly as Kay Tempest, a spoken word poet. This isn't for the squeamish, but this is Europe is Lost. The brokenness of it all is apparent. This is the tyranny of the world, the flesh, and the devil. And despite tens of thousands of people singing along with them, Coldplay cannot fix it. Laura Hancock, who's leading a seminar that I'm part of later this morning, has got this great point where she says, Chris, young people, we used to talk about young people like feeling that we do wrong things. Now young people feel wrong themselves. Why else would we find ourselves at so many gravesides? But in the pain of it all, there's a longing for a saviour. Florence states it again and again, the pain of it all, but she regularly insists that Jesus might have some place in it. 3 is her internal conversation about her anxiety. It's a work of genius, and she runs away. And as she runs away, she invokes Jesus. Is this how it is? Is this how it's always been, to exist in the face of suffering and death and somehow still keep singing, it's like Christ upon a cross. He died for us. in the middle of this astonishing work of art, she's invoking Christ as somehow inherent in her sufferings. Yes, this one, this crucified one, he is with you, he is for you, he's beside you, he's borne your pain and suffering. You are not alone. You are right, Florence. The cross breaks the wheel of the vicious cycles that hold us, that it seem impossible to escape from. So we, the church, we are the community of the wounded healer. We witness the hope of Jesus Christ, who can never be unresurrected. Jesus is alive. And whilst we might have to gag those who give easy answers to suffering, we expect to find Christ, the man of sorrows, among the suffering, among those in pain, among those going through it on their own, because within these young people made in the image of God, there is a longing for light. There is a longing for love. There is a longing for what only God can bring to them. Witness the astonishing moment at Glastonbury in 2019. Stormzy acts as priest to the tens of thousands of young people in a field in the middle of Somerset. What is going on? Of course there's emotion, of course there's corporate experience, but what is God doing? What's God doing when all these souls are singing for grace? Is Jesus hearing that prayer? He doesn't leave himself without witnesses. Could it be these young people are singing a song that has been placed in their heart by Jesus? Could it be that what they're longing for is what they long for because they are made in the image of God, because God has put eternity into their hearts? And of course, I don't want to be naive about the complexity of culture. I'm not saying that everything is just great and all these people have received Christ and experienced grace. But are we not surrounded by moments of thin places, of touching moments where we see the Spirit, if we would just but see them and be outside of our church buildings? Leslie Newbigin, that astonishing missiologist, says the reason for evangelism is because Jesus says, where I am, there also my servants will be. The reason for evangelism is because we want to be where Jesus is. The reason we want to give our lives to work with young people is because I want to be where Jesus is. We can just keep hanging out with the one sheep. We can keep trying to make it safe for them, keep building bigger fences. We can keep arguing about buildings and faculties, and we can continue to compete as to who is best known among us. But Jesus, the Savior of the world, is living and active apart from us, calling, inviting, and of course it's demanding for us. One of the reasons that these young people are skeptical about Zacchaeus seeing through on what he says is because they have heard people say things in the presence of Jesus and not seen through on them. Our life together creates the conditions for the gospel to take. It's like Velcro. I remember a 16-year-old lad called Sherlon saying to me at St. Lawrence, he said, I didn't understand anything that you said to me about God. I didn't understand what you said to me about acceptance and about welcome until I experienced it in this community. This is the vocation for children and young people is a gift to us. And we need to receive this gift because I believe coming along with this priority comes our renewal. Jesus' most famous story, the story that Tom Holland says is the most powerful and most impactful story of all time, tells of a man who takes a journey. This man is mugged and he's left for dead on the road to Jericho. He lies beside the road in great need. Help comes to him not from an obvious source, but from the person he least expects to get it from. Now, my reading of Luke chapter 10, well, you remember Jesus is asked a question by a lawyer, is that Jesus is telling the lawyer a biographical story about himself. The lawyer isn't the Good Samaritan. The lawyer is beaten up by the side of the road. And he needs someone to come and rescue him, and that somebody is Jesus. It is also an autobiographical story because Jesus is the one who is the Good Samaritan, who crosses the road. He's the one who feels the pain, who is moved with pity. It's a verb that's only used for Jesus in the New Testament. He swaps places with the man and puts him on his donkey and then looks after him and pays the price for him. It's an autobiographical story. In what form does Jesus come to us? Because we, church, we're beaten up. We're not, some have left us for dead, but we're by the side of this road. Could it be? Could it be that Jesus comes to us in the form of those we least expect it? In the form of children and young people. We, the church, beaten up by the side of the road. In what form does he come to us? In the form of children and teenagers. And as they come down the road, some of them are even singing the songs of heaven. And they don't know exactly what they're singing, but these are the songs of eternity that they've been made to sing for all of their lives.